Oh, sorry, I was listening to my own intro. Hello, everyone. Above me is Mr. Brian Horton, and I am Brad Chester, this guy. And I'm here to talk to you about. I don't even know. I was going to make something up, but
I mean,
I'm too
we're gonna
excited about the
spend
40K.
we're gonna spend 35 seconds talking about the meta, right? Because there was technically one large event this weekend, and then a whole bunch of little tiny ones, and the one was in Australia, so things are a little upside down.
I played games with Eldar this weekend.
And of course, the new Eldar book is out. Previews are up everywhere, so of course. Somebody was nice enough to go through and write down the points off one of the streams where they had the points. So that was really cool. So we've been theory crafting Eldar. So that'll probably be the majority of this evening's discussion.
So much. If you're going to wonder what happened this weekend, fine, I'll talk about it. If you're going to be like that, I guess we can talk about it.
I mean, let's look at Meta Monday. Do you have them ready? Are you?
I already got it up.
See, look at that. You're so awesome. So, of course, Uprising Adelaide, we had Chaos Demons with what everyone said was the worst attachment, going 8-0.
That's me, going 8-0 at a 180 player event. But this is the reason I wanted to stop it tonight. I didn't just go to the numbers. I wanted to go to the actual events. Before we went live, I went to Brian. I'm like, hey, we might want to take a look at this because, hey, you know what placed in the top 10 of the events? Every freaking army in the game. I mean, Death Watch, Raven Guard, Gladius, Grey Knight Warpbait, Necrons, specifically Awakened, Tyranids Invasion Fleet were their top 7. Fantastic. You know what I mean? I love that. And then you go down to Winchester here. Blood Angels Liberator, AdMech Halo, Orc Horde, Chaos Incursion, Canoptic, which we haven't seen in a hot minute, Vanguard Space Marines. Portland had the Rose City Rampage. Kyle Lyle Dixon coming to $2 super chat. Have you ever? God damn it! Have either of you ever seen a duck penis? You know what? You're about to be putting time out for that.
Anyway, moving on.
As usual, it's just something that's meant to annoy me.
Yep. And the great takeaway from all of this is the meta's in a good spot.
There's so many different things.
If you play your army well, you can do well.
100%. I mean, something different won everything, and the top 5s were different in all of them too. If you look at that, you've got Guard, Chaos, Votan, Old Battle Host Eldar. You know what I mean? Imperial Knights, Tyranid. We didn't have a ton of games, so it's hard to get the full win percentages and stuff like that though. Yeah. Also. I don't think that, to be honest, Machine, you guys, I feel bad for guard players, feel like their codex got skipped over with the Eldar leaks. I feel Eldar is going to feel really, really powerful in the best people playing it. But for the average person, except for a couple of the detachments, which I think you can spam a little bit, for the most part, you're going to get, it plays like old Eldar. You're going to be very highly rewarded for having really good movement. And you're going to get punished because there's a lot of T3 shit on the board. You know what I mean? Stuff's just going to get picked up. So, and I think
the one thing we've always said about Eldar, in a skilled player's hand, it can be a scalpel. In not a skilled player's hands, it's, I moved wrong and I'm picking up a quarter of my army.
In Zoobs, I don't believe that on the Guard. I think Guard is very powerful. I did not think it got the flavor that Eldar got. It doesn't have the same juice. And I'm not talking about power. I mean, actual flavor. You know what I mean? I thought they were going to go harder into regiments and stuff like that. They did a bit, but they just didn't. I don't know. I want to see some separation, you know what I mean, in different things. No, another super chat. What's it say? It would be better of me not to yell at the person and the fact that I get a super chat. Read what it actually says as opposed to reading it live. But I'm never changing, so I'm just going to read it live. Bridget dropped 17% this week. Buff, please. Yeah, whatever, because it was bananas buff before. It's a very good army. I think that you're going to see Guard take a slight dip and then just come right back, to be perfectly honest. To be fair.
I think the problem with Guard is you're, with the exception of the Scion detachment, you're going to be playing 1,200 points of the same thing, then 800 points to that detachment.
Yeah, I mean, maybe even less to that attachment, to be perfectly
Yeah.
honest. It's just, it's the stuff. Uh, I, I think guard's fine, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? So I think that it's, meh. I mean, I think it's strong. I've looked at a couple different lists that I think I can make that I
Yep.
think are very, very strong. I think that it's just going to take a little bit. Everybody's got their immediate impression, and then everything kind of settles down, and then we get back into it. You know what I mean? So, Space Marine Librarius is good, but it's, you have a lot of extra points in librarians and shit like that, and it's cool, and it's thematic, and it's probably one of the funnest detachments. But you end up having a decent amount of extra points in libbies, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, and it
Yep.
makes it a little bit harder to be at the same level of just I'll shoot the shit out of you with Marines with double oath plus one to wound. You know what I mean? So it's just that's why. If you didn't have double oath plus one to wound with Iron Storm and Gladius and stuff like that, you'd see more of the Libby detachment because it is fun and it does have strength. I think it just loses out a little bit because you don't have to take all the extra stuff that detachment has. It seems cheap to you because it custodes. Yeah, true story.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, basically looking at the meta, we've decided that the meta is pretty wide open right now. You can kind of, if you understand how your army works, play it and get to the top as long as you play it well. And I think that's a good thing.
You know, I'm gonna have to give. Hold on, I haven't pulled it out in a while, but I'm throwing the. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Hold on, I gotta scroll down. I've moved a lot of this stuff. There we go. That's for you, Matto. Don't be saying stuff like that. He goes, Mike Brandt's playing the long game. He wants to give Marine players a taste before he throws them back in the cellar. Don't you put that evil on me, boy. I don't like hearing that at all. You know what I'm going to click to before we go through this? You know who's running a major? We are.
We are.
Boom. Here's the link to it. And, oops, that is not even remotely the link to it. I was about to send you guys to like freaking, I can't even think of something weird enough to say. Feet Hub or something. Is that a thing?
Could be. Could be.
Motor City Major. June 6th, 7th, and 8th. Over in Southfield, right outside of Detroit. You can actually just get an Uber or a cab right from the airport and come over. It's going to be awesome. Get over there, Doria. It's going to be fantastic. So I have to throw that out there because Barsati feels like we should already be sold out 6 months in front of our event. One of us put way more money into this than others have.
That's for sure.
I'm not going to say any names. Cough, cough.
I don't know. I'm just throwing a lot of terrain and mats at it, so I think we're good there.
And I'm going to be pretty.
You're a pretty princess. One of the nice parts about this event is it's going to be very player focused. Random raffle giveaways throughout the event. Lots of prizes for factions. It's going to be a fantastically good time. Sign up today. Get ready to come because, of course, if we get close to selling out early, we could probably find some more space and some more terrain.
Yeah, we do have extra. We do have extra space. We're just limited it to ourselves.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks, Sims. Fucking Lyle. I'm running a major the same day. Blackjack and hookers, and he pays people $130. However, the caveat: launch 10th edition rules. I will pay you $130 not to show up to that. That sounds awful. Oof. Launch 10th edition was not fun. Yeah, we're basically bringing back Motor City. We wanted to do something, and we wanted John and I wanted to do something, and we knew that we could bully Brian into going, hey, you're our friend. Please make this happen because we're stupid and have tiny brains. We're like, we'll just keep calling him until he says yes. And he was like, fine. So, but we wanted.
It wasn't even that. It was, hey, Brian, we know you have terrain. And I went, yeah. And they were like, does it just sit around the house in June or does it come out to play? I was like, well, it can come out to play, but it's got to drive from New York to Detroit. They were like, that can happen, right?
We wanted to do something close for us and bring it back. Because the thing is we have we lost our major. You know what I mean? So I wanted to bring it back, and we wanted to have a good time. I wanted to bring back a smaller event, and of course, John, being John, went, "We're not doing anything unless it's a major." Like, okay. So
100% sign up. It's going to be a good time. Hopefully we get the new tournament pack right before this. That's my prayers and hopes, is that we get it a little early. But if not, we'll run with Pariah and have a good time. I've got a whole bunch of terrain, so we're ready to go.
we're running this. If new rules come out on that day, I'm making it happen.
I'm telling you, the rules cutoff is going to be the Saturday before the event. If they come out on that Saturday, we're using them that week. I have no doubt in my mind.
Wine Country is wherever they sell Mad Dog 2020. Other points drop should be out right away because the streamers already had them. So I will skip over to that real quick. So this is one of the guys that put up, he basically made a spreadsheet of all the Eldar points and their new points. So this is the thing. I like where their points are. You know why I like their points? Because a lot of their points I felt were too high but doable, and that usually means they're probably in a good spot mostly. I, of course, am wildly biased because I love Eldar and I want as much Eldar on the board as humanly possible. But I thought some things were a little too high. I thought that the Wraith stuff was too high. The Wraith Lord's probably where he needs to be. I was really bummed that the Shadow Weaver batteries went up to 75 because
it seemed a little expensive.
Yeah, they're really nice though, just because of that. Giving people mortars when they go. I like the indirect. Like right now, I'm running an army with 2 of the Shadow Weaver battery and 2 Dark Reapers. Those guys going up to 3 damage is bananas. Then you put the Tempest Launcher on the Exarch. You can just harass people. Indirect is nice just because you can just pick up all that guard stuff, other Eldar stuff, Dark Eldar, things that, shoot and scoot. It's going to be nice. I mean, as much as I hate people shooting with indirect, I want some on the board. Rules cutoff is during lunch break. we're gonna run it like what was it, 2 years ago ATC, when every time there was a player meeting we had a different set of rules. That was fucking crazy. But yeah, we'll go back to talk about Elder in just 2 seconds here. Like the point, this if you guys want to take a clip or anything, you can just grab this from Reddit.
And of course, I've seen a couple different streamers have a couple different points. These are slightly different from the ones that I've seen on 2 different streams. So of course, everything's with a grain of salt.
100% a grain of salt. This is me just going, this was a guy that put this up right after the Art of War stream, where they were talking the points, but they got, and I'm not ripping into them or anything, but they got several rules wrong and stuff like that, because they also were talking about, 150 pages of shit. So of course you're going to goof up a couple things. So whatever, I'm assuming they misspoke multiple times, but also it was a 2-hour cast or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's been a bunch of 2-hour casts from a bunch of different streamers, and it's really good. Like for myself, I'm looking forward to the Windrider host, and I know it's not, the hot detachment, but I think almost every detachment out of this book is playable. I think the Harlequin one's going to be super strong. I think all the Harlequin players who want to play pure Harlequins can do it again. It's going to be a good time.
Art of War was 3 hours, 56 minutes. I mean, I rounded down, apparently.
Don't forget they had their regular stream, and then they had their War Room stream as well. So
I did not watch it. I did message Jack that he talked a lot. But I think that the Windrider host is one of the things that I think, the Windrider host feels like such a great team army. You just take 6 units of 6 bikes, 3 units of warlocks, 3 warwalkers, and then season a taste after that. You know what I mean? Whatever you want, because you have Uppy Downy with 2 units. You have the warlocks join the units that they come in, and they ignore cover. You get the added AP from the Warwalkers, and then you have the strat. You can get up to AP 3 on the Shuriken cannons. which is bananas, ignoring cover
Yep.
with full rerolls to hit because you're just gonna shoot the Brad math exactly. You're gonna shoot that. I mean, 3 times 6 shining spears. Shining spears are one of the things that I didn't get excited about at first because I couldn't read my leak at first because I have shitty eyes and it was kind of glowy. But the shining spears ignoring vertical distances is nuts because it effectively should just say shining spears go through walls. So it is pretty cool on that. And I've always been a huge shining spear fan. I have a ton of them. I just like the idea of someone riding a bike with a laser lance and, operating a catapult. They must drive the bike with their junk because they're doing a lot of stuff besides that. So
yeah, and I like the Guardian detachment for the fun of the uppy downy of the the blob of Guardians as well. I think that's a good fun thing. It's going to be kind of silly.
Well, Big Pete and I were talking about this with War Host because I was really debating on Aspect Hosts because I'm going to run a bunch of Aspect Warriors. I love Aspect Warriors. I love the Phoenix Lords. Those are the things that jam. When I was trying to make Power Rangers work when it was terrible, I still played that. And now that it's good, I'm definitely going to play it. I really just enjoy that style. I just like the lore and the of the Aspect shrines and stuff. And he was making a play for the War Host because they actually get that extra movement from the battle focus is you get an extra on and you have the strat for uppy downy. Now, it's tough to not go with, hey, you can derp it up and just reroll ones with Aspect Host. Plus, they have 2 of the best strats in the game. 1, ignore all modifiers, including damage modifiers. People miss that all the time when they're talking about it. Hey, you take half damage. How about you take all the damage? Ooh, look what I found. So that's a big deal on that. And the other is right about the time I jumped out with a 10-man unit of fire dragons out of a wave serpent that I just went like 20 some inches because I went D6 plus 1. And I jumped out and went, hey, I'm going to spend a token. And I love these tokens, by the way, because they make you use, you can use them. But then, once you use it, it's gone. I mean, if you ring 10, you can get 2. But like I split fire and did sustained and lethal hits, shot 2 different vehicles, and then smoke bombed in the fight phase and jumped back in the wave serpent and was like, what?
And again, I don't think this book is broken in any way, shape, or form. I think in a good player's hand, it's going to be a very surgical scalpel. It's going to be some amazing things. If you understand how things work, you can play around it. But it's an exciting book because you get to play a bunch of different styles and you're not pigeonholed into playing one specific army build, which is what a lot of the books have felt like recently. So it's really nice. That's my biggest takeaway from it.
And that I really like that because I was sitting down, we were making a bunch of Eldar lists, and the Eldar lists were all over the place. Ton of dragons, 6 wave serpents, and just all kinds of different stuff. The Windrider list I was just talking about. Seer Council, we were talking about that because you can just make, Warlock, on bikes and stuff and just throw singing spears at people. Is there going to be times that you're going to have feel bad movements playing against Eldar? 100%.
Yes.
Because of the fact that Eldar has more movement, more shooting scoots, more uppy downy kind of shenanigans than anybody else. And that's always been the case. But the thing is that you're going to have some pretty good moments against Eldar because anytime anybody makes any goof up whatsoever or overcommits too early, you're just going to devastate that army. You know what I mean? Because again, it's T3 dudes with 1 wound.
And again, Zuber's all about suiciding the guys on the bikes into stuff going, hey, if they've got 1 unit that's like strength 12 shooting and you have a Wraith Knight, just suicide somebody into them. Make them kill them and then go, yeah, I'm just going to pick that unit up.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that you can do in this, man. It's yeah, that is true. We need to get Courtney out of his cryo chamber. He would love playing this to be
because you can play one of everything and be balanced.
Right now, I'm making we're bringing Eldar to Adepticon for the team tournament. We're doing Exodites. We're basically doing half Exodites and half Craft World because they've got the history of the Craft Worlds coming to defend the Exodite worlds, the maiden worlds. Mm-hmm. And I was making lists, and they wanted me to do hardcore lists and Highlander lists. Just trying for max comp theme and everything. And the Highlander list felt great. You know what I mean? They still felt really enjoyable and pretty powerful. So I think I think there's a lot of balance inside this book, whether or not people think it's, I mean, there's some of you that love Eldar, some of you like me, some of you that hate Eldar. And I understand why, because a lot of times it feels like they're playing a different game than you are. But the Eldar's always been able to be punished. The only times that Eldar for me have felt lame, it's the times that I didn't play them, is when we had tons of Wraith that it felt like you couldn't interact with, Wraith Knight, Wraith Guard, all that shit. That's when I think Eldar's nonsense. Eldar jumping around, looking back into vehicles, being super fast. Every time you screw up, you get 2 or 3 units instantly obliterated. That's the Eldar that I enjoy, But I can get
it.
It's
also enjoyable? Liking and subscribing to this channel. We would greatly appreciate that.
That is so early. That's crazy. Who does stuff like this? But is it still called Super Prince of Courtney is playing it? that is still the best argument when you were yelling at me about the old. That was Wraithguard this 20 some years ago. He's like, you bring lists that make the game unfun. And I went, you make lists that make the game unfun for me because they're so bad. That's what that was when I beat Courtney like 100-20, and he still beat me by like 60 points in the overall because his paint score was 100 out of 100 and mine was 5 out of 100. and he just walks up to me at the end of the tournament and just had the little printout, and it's like, hey, I was looking for your name, mine's up here, and where was yours? Like, fuck you. Like, yeah, I know you can paint, you suck. But what I want to do is I'm going to go back to Eldar because I obviously want to talk about Eldar, but I want to talk about some of these models. We didn't give them justice. It came out last week, and it was community that painted the different Phoenix Lords and some of the aspects and stuff. I was looking at these again today, and these are some fantastic paint jobs from even a scrub like me.
And that is a beautiful heroic rock pile.
Sorry, Zooms. They gave me a Brad out of 100. Is that bad? Yeah, that's real bad, man. So, I cannot wait. For everybody, message me in like Facebook Messenger or something. Most of you have my stuff. If you got some great models that you're working on in the Eldar, I'd love to see whatever your current projects are, and I'll put them up. I've offered that forever. Nobody really takes me up on it. We are going to talk about how good Eldar is. Thank you very much, Crawley. Don't be saying bad stuff. Don't make this a house of shade. But some of these, I think this Warp Spider Phoenix Lord, Lycus, it's just a cool model.
All right, is that the appropriate saying for it is Lycus?
I don't. I just started making that up because I'm going to say that. That's what I said.
I was going to go with the Pokemon of Lickitung, but whatever.
Matt, you stay back and talking about K-Ron not being in this thing. I mean, we've had to kill Drazar twice now. Also, he did basically cut Jane Czar in half. She had to get resurrected, but of course they built her better than ever before. I don't know what this guy's using on this one. I know it's going to take a second for you to see this on this Orton. The one by Fletcher, I don't know what the hell this effect's called, but
it's a glow effect, so it's very well done. It's an object light sourcing, really well put together, super beautiful. Love it a lot.
OSL, there you go. I have a hard time seeing shading and stuff, so I like light to darks and stuff, and this one just pops out at me, and I'm also a huge dork for how your army looks on the board when you put it all together. I just think that a real test of an army is it catches your eye as you're walking down the aisle. So, Matt says it's very done OSL, so it is very done OSL. Yeah, I like this a lot. This is a very cool model.
Yep.
This is really clean. This is cool. The problem is that I wanted it to pop. This one doesn't pop as much. but I think these are really well done. They have a couple different peoples, obviously. The new
Yep.
spiders.
And that's your traditional spider paint scheme. It looks really nice. It's really crisp, well put together.
Like I like this one for whatever reason. The one by Jenny. Usually I like the ones that pop more. This just looks so like easy. It's like easy for me to see, even though
Yeah,
it's not bright.
I like that one. It looks really nice. I like the purple.
And I like this Fletcher guy's warp spiders again too. He's got super bright poppy colors. I think this is awesome.
Yeah.
I just I don't know what colors. I just like orange. So the May from Goonhammer, well done. You know why? Because orange is cool. Also, I cannot go wrong with old Vincent said, you know what? I'm going to put a different painted guy for each and every person in the squad. And
That's great.
it, that's pretty boss mode, too. I'm very dubious about my ability to paint these, by the way. So I do. I am like a small child, Eddie. I do like bright colors. It's hard. I don't see shading. So if you do bright to light, or either way, I can see it, and I think it looks cool. Um, this Fugan by Tiffany was banana. This is half the reason I decided to do this in the stream tonight and do these model spotlights. Is this model caught my eye? One, uh, because that's a Mortal Kombat dragon in the background. So, but I love banners. I just love banners.
That banner looks great.
Oh, it's fantastic. And we have some of the other ones. These all look really cool. You know what I mean? I love this base effect. I mean, you guys are going to tell me it's probably something super unbelievably easy to do, but I think it looks super cool. This base on Murray with the fire effect at the bottom.
Yeah, it's actually not. I mean, it is a nice technique. It's not super complicated, but that takes some good time and commitment to get it to look that nice. Very well done.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Both of these from the one from Juan. I like the one from Murray a little bit more. I like just the dark. It's like it's almost like it makes me it looks like the campfire that we use. So of course I'm a little biased on it. But man, this Fugan model, and again, I don't know what Fletcher does to make these pop out like this, but for a blind idiot, his paint scheme just pops to me.
Yeah,
And
it's taken that bright orange blending with some nice darks that gives you a good contrast to your eye, which just it for you makes it amazing.
yeah, it's just it's what I can see. Like this one, I'm sure is amazing by Christine, but like everything's dark and shady, so like I don't get as much out of it because I can't see. You know what I mean? It all blends a little too much. So yeah, I like a lot of these. The fire dragons themselves. I like. It's just funny. You saw the ones where they showed the old models versus the new models.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! It, so, oh, you made it back for the mood. Use a cheese grater and sprinkle mood dust on the base. I love everything about that.
That one I love. I just the
Give me a name.
entire thing. Gomez.
Oh yeah, this one's fantastic.
Yeah. Jamie's looks nice too. I like the little shrine on the back because that's cool. I hope they pinned it in there so you can use the shrine token.
Well, already then. Robert Baker, $2 super chat. Brad, 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. We're doing Perry's prep. All right then. I guess I have something to do. So
he may be a few minutes late.
Again, Fletcher, you're my bro because I can see what you paint. I don't know. Somebody that paints, tell me what you think that these paints are, because I would like to use this. If this is
he's using inks.
Can I use inks?
To give that pop? Yeah, absolutely. We can teach you how to do that.
I have to paint. I have a full Eldar army to paint that I gotta get done eventually here. As with my normal painting stuff, I have till the end of time to get it done. So, but I like that. I can see it. I like it quite a bit. So, people can use inks. Brad, however. Let's talk about Baharov, baby B.
Now, this model I think this is my favorite released model of the new set because you can just do so much with it.
So, how long before I break this?
30 to 40 seconds. And I'm not going to lie. You will 100% have it off that heroic spire, we'll call it, not a rock. And it'll be on the floor, and it'll be like, oh, someone fix this for me, please.
I just assumed I'm just going to break the shit out of this. Cool ass model, though. Cool ass model. You get used to breaking your models? I mean, I break everything anyways. Let's talk about the fact that the new Hawks are cool enough where I'm not just going to use Scourges like I've been doing for the last 15 years.
Well, that's because the old Hawks, if you breathed on them funny, the wings fell off. If you touched them wrong, everything fell apart.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is just a great squadron.
Yeah.
Right
Richard
here.
Gray, I really like your blue there. That's a really nice blue, gray, green.
I think all of these turned out fantastic.
Oh, God, yeah.
This is just really good squad work on everybody.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the fact that Azerman isn't the smallest model in the game now.
Yeah. Or the oldest.
That is true.
Like, we were joking that certain models were 27, 28 years old, and one of the players locally went, I'm 24. And we went, oh, yeah, I have models older than you. Prior to this, we're tournament legal.
All I'm saying is, Corey, I only broke off one icon. I may or may not have used an entire proxy army on Saturday, and it was all Corey's Mr. Gulch's models. And I only broke slightly stuff. This thing looks bananas cool. I like that the banner just looks exactly like his helmet. Like his banner is, I have a picture of myself.
I am so cool, I need to advertise myself. It's fantastic.
How cool am I? Real cool.
So he's Brad cool would be the appropriate answer.
Yeah, right? Baby, yeah.
But no, I give GW a lot of credit for getting stuff out to decent painters in the community, good painters in the community, great painters in the community, and just letting them go to town and do some great work. There's a lot of great painters out there. The painting has come so far over the last 10 years that it is crazy how much good stuff you see nowadays. It's fantastic.
I was looking for old stuff, like the old white dwarfs and stuff like that, and just looking for some of the old models. And you're 100% right on that, man. The difference, even from all the guys of the heavy metal team, you know what I mean? The difference between their painting and the painting now is freaking night and day, man.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy insane on that. So like, what was my favorite here? Scroll. I'm going to talk about Eldar again. So what do I need to see? I need to see. I need to see that. Fugin while I talk about it. They're badass, man. So there's some super good stuff, man.
So let's talk about Eldar. What are you the most excited to put on the table for this Eldar? I know there's a lot of different builds. You're going to play 57 different types. You're going to try out every detachment. Aspect's your thing?
I just like the Aspect Shrine. That's my jam. As far as lore and coolness factor, I just like the idea of the best, these elite warriors that have been, focused on one thing for hundreds, possibly thousands of years. I love the Aspect Shrines. And the fact that you can not get overwatched into another dimension, you can move faster, you have options. You know what I mean? I thought that all the dice mechanics were probably made everybody feel shitty. I don't think that you're going to feel that shitty from Battle Focus. Is it going to do some shenanigans sometimes? 100%. However, is it going to be a very tactical army? 100%. I want to put the Aspect Warriors out there. I think that Dark Reapers being good, they basically paid their penance for 2 editions. Now they're back. Yep. So things like that, I really just like having everybody out there. Like in the latest list that I was using, I had dragons, Reapers, Banshees, Dire Avengers. I had basically a little bit of everything, you know what I mean? Spiders. I had some of everything, and I had just a good time playing it. That's the biggest thing for me with Eldar. I always have a good time playing it. That's why I keep going back to things like orcs. Any of the armies that I have lots of decisions to make, I like playing those type of armies, where you have a very, very high ceiling, but man, if you make a mistake, the wheels can fall off the wagon in a second.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to play lots of aspect warriors. I wish that we had a psychic phase too still, because I think like my favorite character in the game is Eldrad, and I still probably won't play him because, you know, 18-inch power, he has to join people that I really don't want, stuff like that. He does get a CP now though, so it's like there's a reason to take Eldrad.
I
100%.
mean,
Here, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You were going
No,
on
I was
there.
just going in and doing the wall. Just
Yeah,
Corey's got a
people are
point.
going to botch this to start with. They'll get used to playing with it after a little bit of practice.
The thing, it's weird on that because I do have a question for you on that, Mr. Judge. When do I declare the no Overwatch if I'm disembarking? When I disembark, because it's when I move. You know what I mean? So,
Yep, when you set them up on the battlefield, that is the movement of setting them up on the battlefield when you can be overwatched, and you declare no Overwatch on that unit then.
okay. So basically, when I'm done, before I'm done putting them down, I then can say that. Because
Yep.
if you're moving something else, it's basically before you move it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, okay. Well, that's the thing. Probably it's a little different when you're disembarking and stuff like that, because you can't, nothing inside a vehicle counts, you know what I mean, as far as being on the board. So I can't usually declare something for someone that's not on the board yet, so that's why it's different. So haha.
Yep, it's when you set it up on the battlefield.
So I like that. I'm very excited for it. I had a really good time putting them on the board. I played some TTS games, some in-person games, and well, I like playing Eldar for one. I do think that they've got some big damage, but I think you're going to get punked. People are going to have to get used to playing against Eldar armies again. You know what I mean? That's why you saw Dark Eldar just sneaking in and out. Any of the super fast armies that can do shooting scoots and stuff like that. It's why you saw immediately upon Sisters, what's his face, Fire Sisters, had such a big win rate when they first come out. Obviously, they had to get a couple nerfs, but like it was super fast, and they had shooting scoots and stuff like that. When you get a new one of those, they're going to be difficult to play against until you get used to gauging those distance, your spacing. Because the game before decay is all about movement, and it's all about your spacing. So when you get a new set of ranges, basically, you have to get used to playing against those. Oh my God, how many hemlocks? I fucking hate flyers so much.
I guarantee it at some point he uses one.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm going to use one for the team tournament. I'll actually be using a Crimson Hunter because Alan wants to. Here, the exact quote was, "Alan, I don't want to play flyers. They're stupid." And he goes, "Yeah, but what happens if I make it into a pterodactyl?" And I go, "All right, I'll probably bring one." So and the thing is they do have some good shooting. I just don't like the flyer mechanic. If you've ever watched me before, I may have said it once or twice. So
a hemlock seems good in a couple of the attachments.
It's got 2 void scythes plus special rules. I mean, it's legit on that.
Oh, the thing that I like about Eldar Psychics, because I know we just kind of hopped over the psychic phase, they're the only armies that their psychic abilities just happen. They don't roll a thing going, hey, on a 1, I hurt myself. This is, hey, it just happens.
And I do like it. I mean, I think that their detachment might be legit. You know what I mean? I think that the Eldar Psychic detachment might not see a lot of play right away, because it's going to do this. It's to suffer the same thing that I was saying about Kiara's question earlier, which was, why do you not see more Librarius? Because I think that some of the other detachments are a little bit easier, a little bit more efficient. And then you're going to see some people using, other ideas on that. So, it's a big thing on that. So the seer detachment's cool. You know what I mean? And maybe it will be found, like a super cool way to use it, because it does have some coolness in it. I mean, well, you know what we're going to talk about real quick? Holy God. Harlequins are just fucking good.
I I really think that Harlequins is the one that if I hadn't had Zuber buy my Harlequins 10 years ago or at some point in time, I would be trying out the Harlequin detachment just because I think it looks really enjoyable to play. And I think it's one of those, if you mess up movement, you auto lose the game. But if you do a good job with it, it's going to be super fun.
I like the fact that they gave like the troops here choose between one of three things you can do. I like the thing that they did that with aspects too. Reroll ones to hit or reroll ones to wound. Aspect or Harlequins have, one of +1 to wound, things of that nature, the three things they have. And it's yeah, elves hate this one trick. Bring in more indirect. Yes, they do. Holy shit, do we hate indirect. T3 1 wound? No, I got hit by a mortar, my natural enemy. But yeah, +1 to reroll ones, -1 to hit. All of those are really good, and they're different. You have toolboxes of things to choose. I love the fact what they did with the Void Weaver. They finally made the Void Weaver completely cool and not ridiculously OP like they did when it first arrived. It's 18-inch loan op, which means that you're not just getting picked up at the beginning of the game because it is still pretty goddamn flimsy. You know what I mean? That thing's made of paper.
Yep.
But it's got a 24-inch gun. So, it's safe when it's deploying, but then when it starts to engage, you can immediately interact with it. It shot its 24-inch gun. Cool. I move 6 inches. Now I shoot you. So like you've got high risk, high reward moves all over the place. Troop masters are cool as shit. They made the solitaire finally awesome again.
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah, Death Jester, the strat to just get characters back up like the sisters automatically makes something like Death Jester so crazy good. A lone op that gets killed and goes, nah, I was just joking. Back on the objective. Back to work, boss. Let's do this.
And I like that they made it so you can, by making it so the troop players, you can have them as troops. You can have 3 of the characters. It feels right, so you can actually get an attachment that works, and you're not just playing Harlequins with some Eldar stuff. It's I'm playing Harlequins,
and that's the thing is that one of the other things I was talking about earlier is you can make so many different versions of them too. Is it all Harlequins? Is it some Harlequins? You can make these completely different feeling armies with this. I think they did a really good job with this book. I mean, a lot of people might hate certain things about it, but man, like it's got a lot of internal. Anytime you make a book and you can put out multiple armies that aren't just exactly the same, with changing, one thing, I think that's how you determine whether a book is successful or not. You can bring wildly different tournament worthy armies with a book. That is a big deal. Oh, Mano coming with $10 super chat. Might be biased, but are people sleeping on the Inari detachment? The end of shooting move rule seems cranked with MSU Venom list plus Eldar shooting. Even Reavers can move 36 inches from a line of sight. No, the only thing about the Inari right now is they goofed up a bunch of the keywords and how things work. And I really want to see if it was a choice to make them the Yvrain and the Vizark not be able to join Harlequins. I thought that was kind of weird because that's the place that I thought they belonged the most.
Yep.
So when they give out the keywords, I'm assuming that's going to obviously come in the FAQ because right now you've got like all kinds of problems with who can actually get in what vehicles and shit like that. No, but I think the Inari is significantly better than other people have been saying on a bunch of the other streams. I've seen a lot of the recap streams and everybody just kind of poo-pooed on them. They've got a lot of mojo there, and I think that I think Inari is going to be one of the lists that doesn't have an easy. Like when I looked at Wind Riders, I went, hey, 6 units of bikes, 3 and 3 warlocks and warwalkers, and you can make that work in the season to taste. I think that the Inari detachment is going to be one of those ones where you have to put it on the board, start figuring out how much of each thing is good, when, how many forward deploying, how many forward moving things that I need, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. I think it's got even more moving parts than a regular Eldar army does. But I think you're going to get putting.
That's going to be your tinker. That's going to be your tinker list. It'll sleep for a while as other things get. I assume there'll be one. It always happens. Someone will win a big event with Yanari, Brad, or one of the other top tier Eldar players, and they'll get hit with a little bit of a nerf, and people have to go, oh, and then shock, the Inari attachment pops up and becomes really good.
Exactly. It's just you're going to need to put in more games to see how much of each
Yep.
thing that you need, and that is going to be a not just a I look at my list and I know this is good kind of thing. It's going to be a put it on the board. What kind of distances did you need? How much stuff do you need to move block, blah, blah, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of things. And the thing, everybody that's complaining about Eldar and stuff, to be fair, just put whatever your indirect in your army is. It is a nightmare for Eldar players. I'm telling you.
And I'm telling you, Guard will keep Eldar in check,
Oh.
even though a lot of people don't like the way the Guard book feels, because it feels like you got a huge chunk of the army that's always going to be the same. That little bit of indirect that you're going to have, which is probably going to be more than a little, is going to keep them in check real hardcore.
The funny thing about that is I'm looking at Lycus and the unit of warp spiders to suicide on turn one to just try to kill as many mortars as humanly possible. That's how annoying those 3 units of 3 mortars are going to be to Eldar.
Well, and then you're going to have, field bombast guns as well.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just those guys though. You could you make the Eldar player have to come do something just by having 3 units of 3 mortars. They can't just sit around and do Eldar stuff and go, we're going to wait until the end of the game and do some stuff. You're like, you're going to eat mortars is what you're going to do. And you're going to eat a whole bunch of them. Oh yeah, I heard you have 1 wound in your T3. Sweet. Make a save or die. You're like, God damn it, quit doing that to me.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, here's
I like that Eldar seems to be I'm going to keep saying it, the surgical army. It's all about movement, it's all about placement, it's all about layering your buffs, trading up properly, and doing things in the right order. It's going to be one of those very difficult to play armies, but as you master it, you'll be really happy with it.
100%. And playing against it, here's one of the things, and this bothers me all the time because people forget so often. Grenades and tank shock are also another one of the banes of Eldar.
Yep.
You want to get rid of people with 1 wound apiece? Chuck some mortal wounds at them. It's definitely nasty. There's ways to play. I mean, this is why I like playing them so much, because there's so many downsides, but there's so many upsides, and I think they look cool. They play cool. So, Fire Dragons keep guard in check? Yes and no. They'll pick up some tanks, and then they'll get smoke checked right after that. So, because even if they flip back into the Wave Serpent, you just blow up the Wave Serpent, and then again the mortars just drop shots on them.
Yep.
It's a big deal on that. You know what I mean? And the thing is I like that though. You know what I mean? That you get this give and take. Who picks the right time to expose themselves, and take out some stuff. Are you playing the attrition game? That's a fun game of 40K to me. You're back and forth figuring out what were the best moves to make at that point in time. I like that. 100%, Evan. It's 100% cool to have a glass cannon. That's what Eldar should be.
Yes.
Powerful cannon that instantly dies to somebody flicking it. That's what they're supposed to be, and that's how they have been for most of the editions.
You have to so the counter to everything of Eldar seem really good. You can make an Eldar player make a lot of choices, and the more choices you make them make, the tougher it is for them to make all the right decisions, and then you punish them when they make the wrong one. And that's going to be a thing that happens with the Eldar army as you put pressure on them. Guard, I think, is going to keep them in check a lot. Fire Dragon Jets, very good against their vehicles. The problem is when they bring 160 bodies and then stuff along the back line, and you can't get to those. You can't get to the indirect, mortars. You can't get to the field bombast guns. And you're going, oh, all right, then I have to really figure out what I'm doing here and have to figure out how to maneuver around everything. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be very interesting.
It's a big deal on that. Zoobs, you just drop down some scions, bro. Shoot something with -1 to wound if your strength's more than their toughness, which your strength will be equal, and then you get your +1 to wound. So you're still wounding at a 3. You know what dies? A Wave Serpent to stupid melted guns from Guard. So it's a big deal on that. And there's a lot of play here. I think that Guard's in a fine spot because
I do too.
their bodies and indirect counter the
So
Eldar. The
let's
Eldar counter some of the tanks with the big things. So there's a lot of play. I think it's going to be exciting.
isn't this one of the fun things where you get to go, hey, guess what? The meta's balanced. These two things are going to shake it up a little bit. It may change a few things here and there, but I think it's going to be just fine because I don't think there's any one particular army that's completely unplayable. Like to where you see it and go, oh, well, you just can't play that army at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many good things. It took us a while to get here, but I really like where we're going. I like both these codexes. I mean, again, I'm very, very biased. Hey, agents, maybe, but
Agents have an army to play. Absolutely.
there we go. Probability $2 super chat. Funds for the sandwich fund. Go blue. Turkey sandwiches for everyone. Well, just me, but but there's I don't know. I'm excited for 40K. Like all this stuff coming out. Obviously, it's my favorite faction that just came out. I'm very excited for both singles and teams going into 2025. I'll be even more excited when we get a new tournament pack. So, I'm psyched. I'm very, very psyched.
And on the very short horizon, we have Emperor's Children coming in, and we have zero idea what's happening in that. It's going to be fun to see.
Well, that's the thing. Hold on. You know what? I'm going to make a poll real quick. So we got just enough time to do this. Question is, what are you most excited for? Let's give the options of Guard, Eldar, Emperor's Children,
and a new tournament pack.
New tourney pack. Start poll. Poll has been polled. I'm actually wondering what everybody thinks about this because I actually think that the Emperor's Children are gonna I'm just running Emperor's Children at some point in time for at least one of the tournaments because I'm putting Fulgrim on the board. Yeah, I mean that's just a cool looking model. Also, with the things later in the year, if they put out a Vulcan, I'm playing Salamanders. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I mean we're getting the spring summer of chaos because we're getting all four of the chaos books, just bang 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 bang, which is going to be super fun. If you're a chaos player, you should be super stoked for this year.
Yeah, they're putting them out. I don't know the Emperor's Children stuff. I love Emperor's Children paint schemes too because they're just right up my alley of super lights to super darks and stuff. So I think they look super cool. If I could make the rules to Fulgrim, what would I make them? I would actually make him like old Angron, where he had like 30 some attacks or something. I would make all of his damage 1. I would give him a huge sweep attack that's got like 1,000,000 attacks, 20 plus, like 25 plus or some shit. And because he's so fast, I'd give him fights first. I give him ridiculous movement. I'd like to see more of the Primarchs be force multipliers, because of the fact that they guide their stuff. Maybe not Angron, even though he does, but so
I would really like to see Fulgrim be that multi-attack, fights first, kills chaff amazingly, goes down to precision attacks to kill out characters, and I would like you to be able to, and then like another weapon for killing elite, to where that weapon has multiple profiles depending on how he swings it. I think that'd be really neat.
Yeah,
he gets 3 or 4 attacks for precision.
I'd like to see him be a super glass cannon too, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'd like to see him have like bananas offensive output, but like questionable defense. Just so like some -1s at hit, of course, because of the musk coming off like most of the Slanesh worshippers. But that's the kind of shit I do with him. So 100%. Spring, you didn't get my Emperor's Children professionally, and no, Brad, you cannot borrow them. Come on, man. I've never heard anybody's models. Ever. Not once. That's the thing with it, Crawley. I think that if you make him the way I'm talking about, he's an explosive glass cannon, and I would make him probably cheaper than the other Primarchs. Make him be that explosive thing that you know,
If he doesn't have force multiplying. If he has
yeah,
force multiplying as well, it has to be different.
yeah, but right now his current thing is he might not be, you know what I mean? Just because of what he became, he's not as much of leading anything as he is just
Yeah.
doing his weird shit now. Maybe an aura fights first. That is something, Hunter, that could be possible on that. And that's the thing is like I think that he should be super, super explosive damage and be like I said, questionable about his defense. So it would be nice to see him, go after characters, go after whatever. I think he should have high, high, high lethality, and he should have way less durability than some of the other primaries have. I, I really like the idea of that because he's not known for that. You know what I mean? He's known for explosive power and getting the hell out of Dodge, basically. You know what I mean? And just taking off.
Yeah.
He's.
I would assume he's not going to be. I'll bet you he's in that 9-10 toughness range. I don't think he's going to be any higher than that.
And I could agree with that. To be fair, so I like the idea of that. I would just like to see him be that. Every time he showed up in the lore, now that he's been a demon Primarch, he's just been blazing fast, deleted something, and just kind of got out of Dodge because he just doesn't give a shit. Like they go after their own things that they have their own goals that they're pursuing. It seems like the Emperor's children are just there to fuck around and just leave. You're like, I don't really know if they helped us at all. They came here and fought and then they left. You're like, what did they achieve? I don't know if they achieved anything. They just bailed. So I'd like to see this. Yeah, I can see that, Eric. But he was Angron and Magnus are 11. Morty's 12. Him being 10 or 11 work. I could see him being 9. To be honest with you,
I could see him being 9-10. I think 10's probably where he's going to fall. But yeah,
Spider Gwen. That's actually awesome, Zach.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like it. I just like to see him be, nastiness. I'd like to see him be what the Lion should have had, but we're not going to talk about that. I'm not even getting in the Lion. Lion needs a full revamp. But I'd like to see Fulgrim be this just missile that comes in, blows up, and deuces out. You know what I mean?
All right, so let's look at our poll and see where we're at.
We have not a lot of people excited about Guard. We've got Eldar leading at 38%, Emperor's Children 25%, new turning pack at 33%. And I agree with you on that because if I wasn't such an Eldar psycho, I would be most excited for the tournament pack because the tournament pack always affects the most people. One codex, one rules thing. The tournament pack is the most important thing in the tournament scene. A good tournament pack makes a great year. So I'm super excited about that. Well, the demon inside Fulgrim is a coward. Yes, he's you got to roll the dice on who he's currently getting possessed by, because it hasn't been won, by the way. So,
all right. So, Brad, time to promote things.
I want to talk about 40K Lorecast. The 40KLorecast.com. Go to the site. Download us on Spotify, iTunes. And then we also, of course, have the Motor City Majors coming out June 6th, 7th, and 8th. Brian, what do you got going on lately?
Of course, we always have the Art Store, who's one of the proud sponsors of us. Click the QR code there and pop over and buy some Warhammer stuff. It'd be fantastic. So that'd be really nice. We'd appreciate it.
And as always, everybody, thanks for hanging out. And as it is, Lorecats. I do have that sweatshirt, by the way. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. See you next time.